Hi guys! Welcome sa enginerdmath channel. Sa video na to ay ituturo ko sa inyo ang inverse Laplace transform. So kung gusto niyo itong matutunan, just keep on watching. Okay, so this time ay ituturo ko naman sa inyo ang inverse Laplace transform, which is the reverse process of finding Laplace transform. So, ibig sabihin, kung meron tayong given f of s, which is ni-Laplace transform natin galing sa f of t, ibabalik natin siya sa f of t. Okay? So, ginagamit kasi natin itong inverse Laplace transform. For example, kapag nagsasolve tayo ng time domain circuits, which is involving differential equations, nila-Laplace transform muna natin yung equation na yun para maging in terms of S form na lang siya, magiging parang algebraic equations na lang yung mabubuo nyo. So, mas madali natin masasolve yung voltage or current response dun sa circuit. And then, tsaka natin ibabalik sa time domain yung nasolve nating voltage response in terms of S. Okay? Dapat dito sa video na to ay napanood nyo na yung videos ko for finding the Laplace transform, particularly yung mga table of formulas for Laplace transform, tsaka pag-decompose ng rational functions into sums of partial fractions, which meron akong parts 1 and 2 kasi gagamitin natin yun dito sa paghanap ng inverse Laplace transform. So, kung hindi nyo pa yun napapanood, ay lilink ko na lang para ma-check nyo. Okay? So, sabi, if Laplace transform of f of t is equal to capital F of s, then the inverse Laplace transform of f of s is f of t. That is, inverse Laplace transform of capital F of s is equal to f of t, where L raised to negative 1 is called the inverse Laplace transform operator and is a linear operator such that the inverse Laplace transform of c sub 1 f sub 1 of s plus c sub 2 f sub 2 of s plus plus c sub n f sub n of s is equal to c sub 1 plus inverse Laplace transform of f sub 1 of s plus c sub 2 inverse Laplace transform of f sub 2 of s plus plus c sub n inverse Laplace transform of f sub n of s. Okay, so ito raw yung operator natin for inverse Laplace transform. So, yung operator lang natin for Laplace transform na merong negative 1. So, kapag ginamit natin tong operator na to sa function of s, magiging f of t na siya. Magiging yung original function na siya. Tapos, meron din tayong linear property for inverse Laplace transform operator. So, pwede mong i-distribute yung Laplace transform operator dun sa sum or difference of different functions multiplied by a constant. So, pwede mong hanapin term by term yung Laplace transform nung given sum or difference of functions. Okay, so parang ito yung property na yun. Okay? So, mag-solve tayo ng examples para ma-illustrate natin kung paano maghanap ng inverse Laplace transform. Pero bago tayo dumako sa ating mga examples ay i-shoutout ko lang yung ilan sa aking mga subscribers na nag-request for shoutout. So, ito sila Frederick Kian Santillan Mulye, tsaka si Jennifer Olarte. So, shoutout sa inyo, Frederick and Jennifer. Maraming salamat sa support at patuloy na panonood ng aking mga videos. And God bless sa studies. So, kung gusto niyo ring magpa-shoutout, mag-comment lang kayo sa video ko. And then, isa-shoutout ko kayo sa mga future videos ko. Okay? So, evaluate the following and express as a function of t. So, for the first one, we have inverse Laplace transform of 6 over s to the 5th. Okay, so, this time, meron tayong constant na 6. So, pwede muna nating igilid. So, parang equal to sa 6 inverse Laplace transform of parang 1 over s to the 5th na lang. Right? So, ngayon, ito sinasabi ko sa inyo na dapat kabisado nyo yung table of formula for Laplace transform. So, kung mapapansin nyo, meron kayong 1 over s to the 5th. So, kung aalalahanin nyo, yung Laplace transform ng t raised to n is equal to n factorial over s raised to n plus 1. So, pwede nating i-compare ito dito. So, kung yung exponent natin dito sa denominator ay 5, pag in-equate natin itong 5 dito sa n plus 1, therefore, ano yung n natin? 5 minus 1 is equal to n or simply 4. So, therefore, pwede pala natin itong i-rewrite as inverse Laplace transform of s raised to 4 plus 1. Since yung exponent natin ay 5, and then itong n, kailangan natin ng n factorial. So, magmumultiply tayo ng 4 factorial sa taas. Since ang given lang natin is 1, so para makaproduce tayo ng 4 factorial, dahil nagmultiply tayo sa numerator ng 4 factorial, magdi-divide din tayo sa denominator ng 4 factorial. Para equivalently, 1 lang yung minultiply natin. Since constant to, pwede na lang nating ilabas. Okay, so parang magkakaroon tayo ng 1 over 4 factorial sa labas. Times ngayon sa 6, yung constant na ginilid natin kanina. Okay? So, parang meron na tayong 6 times 1 over 4 factorial, or simply 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, right? Times, eto nga, ano na ngayon to, base dito sa form na to, t raised to n, yung n mo is 4, bale, right? So, parang t raised to the 4th, right? So, magiging time domain na ulit siya, f of t. Okay, so, simplify na lang natin tong constant. So, makakancel natin tong 6 saka itong 3 times 2, right? So, parang 1/4 na lang. 1 over 4 t to the 4th. So, therefore, inverse Laplace transform of 6 over s to the 5th is 1 over 4 t to the 4th. Okay? Next, we have inverse Laplace transform of 7s over s squared plus 9. Okay, so, dahil meron ulit tayong constant na 7, pwede nating igilid. So, magiging 7 inverse Laplace transform of this time s over s squared plus 9 na lang. So, check uli natin kung anong Laplace transform formula yung pwede nating ma-apply dito. So, mapapansin nyo, meron kayong s over s squared plus 9. So, diba sa Laplace transform, meron tayong Laplace transform ng cosine at equal to s over s squared plus a squared. So, therefore, same yung expression natin na to dito. So, kung i-compare natin, parang yung a squared natin dito is yung 9, which is, pwede siyang gawing 3 squared para yung a natin is 3. Right? So, therefore, ang inverse Laplace transform pala natin dito sa expression na to na s over s squared plus 9 is this, cos 80, kung saan yung a nga natin is 3. So, parang 7 cos 3t. Applying this formula for Laplace transform. So, therefore, this is the final answer, 7 cos 3t. Okay? Next, we have inverse Laplace transform of 3s plus 4 over s squared plus 5. So, mapapansin nyo, meron tayong s squared plus 5 sa denominator. So, papasok agad sa isip nyo na pwedeng maging inverse Laplace transform yan yung cosine 80 or sine 80, right? Kasi kapag Laplace transform natin sila, pareho silang merong s squared plus a squared sa denominator. Sa cosine 80, meron kang s. Sa sine 80, meron kang a. Okay? So, pwede natin gawin is paghiwalayin natin, i-distribute natin tong denominator na s squared plus 5 dun sa 3s saka sa 4. So, pwede itong maging inverse Laplace transform ng 3s over s squared plus 5 plus 4 over s squared plus 5. So, sabi ko nga, linear operator yung inverse Laplace transform, pwede nating i-distribute. So, itong 3, constant siya. So, parang igigilid ko na lang 3 times inverse Laplace transform ng s over s squared plus 5. Plus, ito ring 4, dahil constant siya, pwede ko ring igilid 4 times inverse Laplace transform ng 1 over s squared plus 5. Okay, so, para ma-apply natin itong formula na to, yung Laplace transform ng cosine 80 tsaka sine 80, pwede natin gawin dito sa 5 is gawin natin square root of 5 quantity squared. Para yung a natin is square root of 5. So, parang 3 inverse Laplace transform of s over s squared plus square root of 5 squared plus 4 inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s squared plus square root of 5 squared. Okay? So, itong first part, readily, pwede na nating ma-apply yung Laplace transform ng cosine 80, right? Kasi ito na yung form niya eh. S over s squared plus a squared, where yung a nga natin is square root of 5. So, therefore, ito ay equal sa 3 times cosine square root of 5t agad. Right? Ngayon, dito sa 4 inverse Laplace transform ng 1 over s squared plus square root of 5 squared. So, dahil wala tayong s dito, pero meron tayong s squared plus a squared sa denominator na form, pwede naman natin i-apply yung sin 80. Kung saan, dapat meron lang tayong a pa sa taas, which is yung square root of 5. So, tulad dun sa ginawa natin sa example 1, dahil 1 lang naman yung original number natin sa numerator, at kailangan natin square root of 5, mag-divide din tayo ng square root of 5 sa denominator para balance na parang 1 lang yung minultiply natin. So, itong square root of 5, dahil constant, pwede na lang din natin ilabas. So, parang 4 times 1 over square root of 5, inverse Laplace transform of square root of 5 over s squared plus square root of 5 quantity squared. Okay? So, parang meron na tayong, ito, 4 times 1 over square root of 5 is simply 4 over square root of 5 lang, times, tapos ito, pwede na natin i-apply yung sin 80 na form. So, parang sin, yung a natin is square root of 5 times t. So, therefore, yung pinaka-answer is, itong dalawang to, yung sum nila, 3 cosine square root of 5t plus 4 over square root of 5 sin square root of 5t. Or pwede nyo i-rationalize to, magiging parang 4 square root of 5 over 5 sin square root of 5t. Okay, so therefore, this is the final answer. Next, we have inverse Laplace transform of 2s plus 7 over s squared minus 3s minus 4. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, yung denominator natin is a quadratic factor which is still factorable, right? Kasi pwede pa natin itong i-factor as what? S 4, 1, tapos negative, positive. Right? So, parang we have inverse Laplace transform of 2s plus 7 over s plus 1 times s minus 4. So, dito ngayon papasok yung application ng decomposing of rational functions. So, meron naman na akong videos doon, di ba? So, pag ginawa natin yon, i-decompose muna natin itong expression na to sa sum of partial fractions. So, 2s plus 7 over s plus 1 times s minus 4 is equal to yung bawat factor, yung s plus 1, lagyan natin ng constant as a sa numerator, plus ito ring s minus 4, lagyan natin ng constant sa numerator na b to be determined. So, next step, di ba, multiply natin both sides sa LCD, which is this denominator pa rin. So, distribute, makakancel lahat to, magiging 2s plus 7 equals, distribute sa a, makakancel si s plus 1, matitira is a times s minus 4, plus distribute sa b, makakancel si s minus 4, matitira is b times s plus 1. So, apply na lang natin yung substituting ng values ng s dito para may ma-eliminate tayong variable. So, let's say, let s be equal to 4 para makancel natin si a. So, substitute natin sa lahat ng s is 4. So, 2 times 4 plus 7 is equal to a times 4 minus 4 plus b times 4 plus 1. So, magiging 2 times 4 is 8 plus 7 is 15 equals, ito, a times 0. So, makakancel si a plus b times 4 plus 1 is 5. So, parang 5b. So, magiging 15 is equal to 5b. Divide both sides by 5. We have b is equal to 3. Next, kapag nilet naman natin yung s, b equal to negative 1 para makancel si b. So, substitute natin sa lahat ng s yung negative 1. So, we have 2 times negative 1 plus 7 is equal to a times negative 1 minus 4 plus b times negative 1 plus 1. So, magiging 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 7 is positive 5 equals a times negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. So, parang negative 5a plus b times negative 1 plus 1 is ito, 0. So, cancel si b. So, therefore, we have 5 is equal to negative 5a. Divide both sides by negative 5. We have a is equal to negative 1. So, therefore, we have 2s plus 7 over s minus 4 times s plus 1 is equal to a natin is negative 1 over s plus 1 plus b natin is 3 over s minus 4. So, ito na yung i-inverse Laplace transform natin, yung decomposed version. So, distribute natin term by term. So, inverse Laplace transform of negative 1. So, negative, igigilid ko na lang dito, times inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s plus 1 plus itong 3, constant, gilid ko lang din, times inverse Laplace transform of 1 over s minus 4. So, kung maalala nyo, meron tayong formula na Laplace transform ng e raised to at is equal to 1 over s minus a, right? So, therefore, similar to dito. So, pwede natin i-apply. This time, sa unang part, yung a natin is negative 1. Sa second part, yung a natin is 4. So, parang, itong first part is negative e raised to negative 1 times t, or simply, negative t, plus itong second part is 3 times, this time, e raised to, a natin is 4, so 4t. So, therefore, this is the final answer. Okay? Next, we have inverse Laplace transform of s plus 3 over 4s squared plus 4s plus 9. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, dito sa denominator natin, meron tayong quadratic expression. Pero, hindi na natin siya mafa-factor. So, therefore, no need na tayong gumamit ng decomposition into sum of partial fractions dito sa expression na to. So, ang gagawin lang natin, usually, kapag ganito, meron kayong quadratic expression sa denominator na not factorable, i-compute nyo na lang yung squares. So, ang first step, dapat itong s is free of numerical coefficient. So, i-factor out muna natin itong 4 na numerical coefficient niya. So, parang s plus 3 over 4 times s squared plus s plus 9 over 4. Right? So, parang, itong 4 na to, parang meron ka na lang 1/4 times s plus 3 over s squared plus s plus 9 over 4, right? So, applying yung concept natin na kapag may constant, kinigilid na lang, pwede na itong maging equal sa 1/4 inverse Laplace transform of s plus 3 over s squared plus s plus 9 over 4. Ngayon, i-complete natin yung square nitong denominator. So, anong gagawin natin? S squared plus s. Para ma-complete yung square niya, mag-add and subtract tayo ng isang constant term, which is ano yun? Yung numerical coefficient nitong s, which is 1, divide natin sa 2. So, 1/2. And then, square pa natin, equal siya sa 1/4. So, parang s squared plus s plus 1/4. Tapos, meron tayong plus 9 over 4. So, magsusubtract tayo ng 1/4 uli para 0 lang yung inad natin kasi 1/4 minus 1/4 is 0. So, magiging, ito, mapa-factor out na natin as what? S plus 1/2 squared. Right? Plus, ito, yung 9 over 4 minus 1/4 is ano na yan? Parang 9 minus 1 over 4 or 8 over 4 or simply 2. So, parang meron ka ng 1/4 inverse Laplace transform of s plus 3 over etong bagong denominator, yung s plus 1/2 quantity squared plus 2. So, mapapansin nyo sa denominator, meron kayong s plus 1/2 quantity squared plus 2. So, parang merong naka-add na term doon sa s and then naka-square. Kung i-recall nyo yung formula for Laplace transform, pwede natin gamitin yung form na Laplace transform ng e raised to bt sin at is equal to a over s minus b square plus a square, as well as Laplace transform ng e raised to bt cos at is equal to s minus b over s minus b square plus a square. Yung shifting property. So, parang ang magiging b natin dito is itong negative 1/2. Right? Tapos, yung a natin dito is pwede natin itong i-write as square root of 2 quantity squared, right? Para yung a natin is square root of 2. Okay? So, para ma-apply muna natin itong formula ng e raised to bt cos at, so, dapat meron tayong s minus 1/2 sa numerator. Kaso meron tayong plus 3. So, hugot muna tayo ng 1/2 sa 3. So, parang s plus 1/2 plus ilan pa yung kulang para maging 3? 5 halves, right? So, parang dinecompose ko lang yung 3 as 1 half plus 5 halves para nga ma-apply natin yung formula na to. Yung s plus 1 half over s plus 1 half squared plus square root of 2 squared. Etong EB cosine 80. So, magiging 1/4 inverse Laplace transform ng s plus 1 half plus 5 over 2 over s plus 1 half quantity squared plus square root of 2 squared. Sa paghiwalay natin, i-distribute ko ulit itong denominator. Magiging 1/4 inverse Laplace transform ng s plus 1 half over s plus 1 half quantity squared plus square root of 2 squared. Plus, dito rin sa 5 over 2 over s plus 1 half quantity squared plus square root of 2 squared. Okay? So, pag distribute natin itong Laplace transform operator, parang meron tayong 1/4 inverse Laplace transform nitong s plus 1 half over s plus 1 half quantity square plus square root of 2 square plus 1/4 inverse Laplace ng 5 over 2 over s plus 1 half quantity squared plus square root of 2 squared. So, ito, readily, mahanap na natin yung inverse Laplace transform niya kasi same form niya na to. So, magiging 1/4 e raised to b natin is itong ang negative 1 half. So, negative 1 half t times cosine 80. So, cosine a natin this time is itong square root of 2. So, cosine square root of 2t. Right? Plus, ito na lang yung 1/4 inverse Laplace transform nitong 5 over 2 over s plus 1 half quantity squared plus square root of 2 squared. So, kung mapapansin nyo, para ma-apply natin itong EB sin 80, kailangan natin ng a, which is yung square root of 2, right? Sa numerator. Since wala tayo nun, gamitin natin yung ginawa natin dun sa mga previous example. Mag-multiply tayo ng square root of 2 sa numerator as well as mag-divide tayo ng square root of 2 sa denominator para equivalently 1 lang yung minultiply natin. Okay? So, therefore, we have itong 5 over 2 tapos itong dinagdag natin na square root of 2 sa denominator, constant, igigilid ko na lang. So, magiging 5 over 2 square root of 2 and then times inverse Laplace transform itong square root of 2 over s plus 1 half quantity squared plus square root of 2 squared. So, parang we have ito 1/4 times 5 over 2 square root of 2. So, parang 5 over 8 square root of 2. Right? Times, ito, pwede na nga nating makuha yung inverse Laplace transform niya. Applying this form, we have e raised to b natin is negative 1 half pa rin, 1 half t, times, this time, sin 80, which is yung a natin is square root of 2. Okay? Or further simplifying, i-rationalize natin itong denominator. So, parang magiging 5 square root of 2 over 16 times e raised to negative 1 half t sin square root of 2t. Tapos, sama lang natin itong 1/4 e raised to negative 1 half t cosine square root of 2t. So, therefore, this is the final answer. Okay? So, I think that's it for this video, inverse Laplace transform. So, practice lang kayong mag-solve ng more examples on finding the inverse Laplace transform para ma-master nyo yung paghanap ng inverse Laplace transform. So, sana ay may natutunan kayo sa video na to at maraming salamat sa panonood.